Entering the Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog. Valero Texas Open Bets, Picks, Preview, one and done, plus a recap of the Houston Open, which, Jeffrey, was a very profitable week. It's nice to have those sometimes.
Oh, it was a beauty. And Min Woo, I mean, no stranger to this. Our orbit, I've been a slut for him for a long time. So that felt great. It was a sweat. Is always a sweat. I'm not smart enough to bet the guy I should be betting to hunt you down when it looks safe. But I'm a gambler, and I've fucking loved it.
I can't ever recall a 3 under 1 bogey round that felt more stressful from a guy that I had who was up by 4 shots the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, if I was with you, right, and we were saying our workspace, you didn't have money on Min Woo, you would have up until the 16th hole been telling me, chill out, man. You're winning by 5. What the fuck's wrong with you? Right? But I don't know. We kind of all felt it. Then it got real bad. And you'd have been yelling dude, you're still winning. You're still up 1. You don't need to be freaking out like that. But you sort of felt all the things were going to happen. And then this might be unfair. And I'm not trying to be unfair to Scotty. He was Tiger Woods last year. By trophies, by almost all metrics, other than in a top Tiger year, he probably wins more than 1 major, whatever. But so many times last year, and it's a Tiger effect, it felt like his aura of voodoo, made other guys do the dumbest things possible. And we were all on lots of second places to Scotty last year. And it felt oh my God, his aura, Min Woo launching it farther right than Tim.
Well, Tim's a lefty, so his go the other way.
Fair enough.
I was so when he was on the tee on 16, so I was a little bit stressed because I knew that Scotty had the 24-footer for eagle on 16. It was okay, I know Scotty's going to make this, and it's going to really put the pressure on Min Woo. And then things got worse when he hooked it or sliced it so far right. I thought it landed in that little boat that was in the middle of the lake. I was I wonder if he could play it from that boat. But it turns out that was not the case. He had to go re-tee because he immediately went over the water. It was either re-tee or take a drop from 10 feet in front of him into the rough. So at least he had the good sense to re-tee. But even at that point, the moment Scotty missed the eagle putt, and he burned edgy. He made a few, but he burned a lot of edges. And even when it came to chipping in, I think he missed 3 chip-ins by about 2 inches, that everything was just starting to break right. That you knew at the time, okay, Scotty's going to pick 1 back up here as long as Min Woo doesn't double bogey. And he shouldn't, because everyone at least birdies this hole. If he can now just play it as a birdie, into a bogey, which would it be because he lost the ball off the tee, that we're still going to be okay, because 17's not very hard. It's a drive and a flick wedge. 18's kind of hard, but with the way that Min Woo chips, and that was the way to get on him anyway, is that you shouldn't feel that nervous. Although I did, but to your point, that if I didn't have money on it, I'd be all right, he still has this. He's still very much in the driver's seat. When I was checking the live odds after 16, he was still minus 210 to win. So unless he fucked up really badly again, he was still going to win, unless Scotty was able to birdie. I couldn't believe how short he left it on 18. That was frankly shocking. And then I was convinced he was going to chip in. But he didn't. It was great.
It was all fabulous, and things you love to see. Gary Woodland, right?
Yeah, okay, yes and no, because everyone started rooting for Gary Woodland, and dude couldn't miss a putt. It was actually, I've never seen Woodland putt so well, except for when you had him at the U.S. Open when he won. Those are the 2 tournaments ever he putted that well. Everyone's oh, what a good story. I hope he comes back and wins. Fuck Gary Woodland. Go break his putter. I don't give a shit. I need Min Woo Lee to win here.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, then he hits that shot on 18, and you're holy shit, what a shot. Maybe can win. Up until then, even his eagle, I was wasn't really counting him in. And he did that, the putter raise, which was reminiscent. And there's a still image from Pebble of like that same motion when he hit that eagle putt. And yeah, you love to see it. That's all. You love to see it. He's playing great. He says he's exhausted. I think if he had the status he wanted, he probably would withdraw this week. But I don't think that's the case. Yeah, Minwoo, I mean, he just made it stressful, but he hit so many putts. He putted so beautifully. It helped so much. I don't know, it was lovely. It was truly lovely to see. I took a lot of heat. I don't say a lot of heat, but people did not react kindly, Pat, last week to me saying on multiple places that give me a chance to speak that I thought he was the third best player in the field. And I don't know if I actually meant that or I meant that relative to this specific course, but I said it and he didn't make me look like an idiot. I used him in one and done. I don't think that was much of an outlier. Probably one of the more popular one and dones that hit that won't be like a chalky, like 20 to 1 or under sort of player this year. But hey, great. Oh, feels great. Yeah, you took it old school. When I first met you, you'd do the first round leader, grab a winner also. Feels like those have been a little more rare for you the last few years, but they'll take me back right to the old school when Pat's pulling that combo off.
I mean, I should have just tuned into Sky and Tom too. Then I could have hit Eugenio over in India too, because everyone hit that one too. What a weird course.
I didn't even know. Yeah, I just didn't even look at that board. I didn't even know that guy was playing. Credit to him. And that course is beautiful. If only we could get an Indian superstar, we can get a President's Cup there, Pat.
Sharma sniffed it for a while. Remember when he was in the final group at WGC Mexico, and then now I'm betting him at 250 to 1 at third-rate Euro Tour events?
That course is just, I don't want to, so fascinating.
It should have like a windmill on it for one of the holes, it feels like.
Yeah. Is it something with one of your mic cords could be weird? Because sometimes you just got really soft, but you came right back before, but now you went real soft again.
No, how's it sounding now?
Perfect.
Oh, was it just the one time, Jared?
Yeah, it was one time, but it came back, but then it dropped again for a moment, so I just wanted to warn you that time. But even when it got low, you could never not hear you. It was just, it just dropped for like 10 seconds.
All right, I appreciate you letting me know that. That's good on-site producing, like live producing with us, that if it's a problem again, you let me know, and we'll continue through. Minwoo was actually 13.7% owned in the big one and done, my one and done, where I dropped down to 38th place, because I took Kevin Yu on my main team. I was not burning anyone great, and I thought that Minwoo was too chalky. Probably should have just played Minwoo, because I'm guessing this is the most money you're going to get out of him all season. I thought it was a great performance. And then I've started to see, you know how I have sort of, I call it like the Pat Mayo circuit of tournaments that I really like, where it's like Sony Open, Heritage, Colonial, Wyndham, like that group.
Mem Park made the list?
No, Mem Park is a part of its own thing now. I've been trying to like comp the courses together, and because I feel like it really helps me in narrowing down, because that's always the hardest part of this. Like, if you came into last week and there was no odds next to anyone's name, you'd be like, oh, Scheffler or Rory are going to win this tournament. Then you look at their odds, you're like, yeah, probably not. Like, that's probably not where I want to put my money. Who also fits best with this course? Back to your point of who is the third best player in this field, and that's why I ended up betting Finau and Minwoo, because I thought that they were next two in the field. Like JJ Spawn was third on the odds board. He was very clearly not the third best player in the field. And then the results kind of bore that out. But Memorial Park goes on the list with Mexico, Torrey Pines, and Craig Ranch, I think, because they're the spray and pray courses. Just spray it wherever you want, and you can figure it out after. You don't need to be lights out with your irons. You can be good with your irons. And Minwoo was good with his irons. And he was gaining a bunch off the tee until he didn't on the 70th hole of the golf tournament when he lost an incredible amount off the tee on one stroke. But either way, he still broke even for the week off the tee. And if you watched him, he drove it really, really well. But it didn't matter if you missed the fairway or not. As long as you weren't behind a tree or your ball was covered in mud, it really didn't make a difference. And all those courses kind of fit that bill.
Yeah. So Minwoo, I want to bet a future now. Minwoo for LA Country Club when they go back.
Yeah, the other thing, I forget who pointed this out. I think it was someone on Fried Egg, but 5 of the top 7 players in the field were the top 5 guys in ball speed.
Wow. Yeah, that's wild. I mean, Minwoo was an easy choice. I came on last week so afraid of Scheffler and Rory, but I said, I know I'm betting Min Woo. Like, I knew that right away. I would be betting Min Woo. Hit Jagger here last year, so obviously got a nice little vibe for the play. Spray and pray in the middle of the odds board. But in the end, Pat, I talked so highly of Pendrith last week, and I pivoted off him. In the end, I ended up having Wyndham and Thigala on my outright card. Different results clearly for both, but like Victor fucked me up in the sense that like, no, I've just got to bet like the really good players who I think who can win. And I don't know why Thigala is more trustworthy than Pendrith, especially when I love Pendrith. That was really stupid. But when I thought he was going to win, because last week I talked glowingly about Victor, but didn't bet him for a small potpourri of reasons. Got scared by the weather, the miscuts, whatever. And I was like, oh my God, I did it with Pendrith. But nope. Now we got to go to the real home of Canadians in Texas.
Yeah, the Valero Texas Open, the Corey Connors Classic. Just looking, I have a big, like, obviously we're kicking off Masters Week. Partially tomorrow, it's going to be me, you, and Cust doing a draft of all of the players in the majors. And maybe we'll even talk about our favorite Masters and draft our favorite Masters from like the past 15 years or so. Plus a Cust Corner is going to be in there too. But Thursday is when I'm kicking things off. Me and Matt Gannon are doing the player-by-player breakdown. Then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday, we will have Masters content. And guess what, Geoff? I can send 2 people to Toronto for 2 days at the Canadian Open, our live show, and 2 Jays tickets. How do you feel about that?
I love it. I love it. That sounds great. I'm pretty, well, couldn't enter, but yeah, enter that contest. Even you said, even if you don't want to see us do a show, you can skip it.
I'm not going to be bothered if you don't come to the show, but if you just want like a free, it's airfare, hotel, and tickets to all those things. If you want to skip the live show on the Saturday and go to the Canadian Open again, listen, I'm not going to begrudge you for that. That sounds like a great time because you got a free trip to Toronto out of it. It's eligible for anyone in Canada who is not in Ontario. If you go to coolbet.com right now, you can do that. You just have to opt into the PME Masters. There's a Masters pool up there as well for anyone worldwide. If you just, it's coolbet.com/CA/PME is how you get into it. I'll put the direct link down in the description of the video in the pod right now. But if you are out there, not in Ontario, you are Canadian, go create that CoolBet account right now. Opt in, and you can, for I believe it's for every $10 you bet on Valero, Masters, or Heritage, you get 1 ballot into the draw, and then it's a randomly chosen winner. You can win the 2 tickets. You can bring a friend, you can bring your wife, you can bring your boyfriend. Doesn't matter who it is. Bring whoever. Maybe use it for your life. Maybe you're a plus-size individual and you need 2 seats, and that covers it for you anyway. Doesn't matter. Just go do that right now. It will greatly support the show. And Geoff, if people do this, there's talk that if enough people do it, that there might be an Open Championship giveaway too. Yeah.
That's pretty messed. Listen, I think I know where this comes from. And when you mentioned it last week, like, I don't want to misspeak here, but our friends at CoolBet, they don't mess around.
No.
Like, they don't mess around. I got other friends on the internet who do stuff with them, and these guys go everywhere. They go everywhere. They sent Hustler to Qatar.
Hustler needed SPF 3000 when he was in Qatar, by the way.
I would need 3001. But yeah, so like what a great site, and they're up for anything. Those guys are a lot of fun, and obviously they're bringing it here for the PME. So let's go sign up, support the show. It would mean a lot. We can't be done with Houston yet, though.
Oh, no. I got Houston topics here. Okay, well, let's move into Woodland. So what do you make of Woodland right now? Because he gained just as many strokes putting as Min Woo did throughout the course of the week. I believe it was 8.3. They both tied for first. Min Woo, I see that happening with, every now and then. 8.7 was actually the number. Scheffler was third, I think, at 7.1. No, he was sixth at 7.1. You had Min Woo, Gary Woodland, Nicholas Echeverria, Griot, Matteo Manticero, and then Scotty Scheffler came in sixth and ended up coming in second place, tied with Woodland. But Woodland's not the putting enthusiast, as these results would show, that I'd be somewhat worried that this was the week if he was going to win in this comeback, that this was going to be the week. He didn't have his best stuff tee to green, but it wasn't bad at the same time either. I just feel like everyone's now really pumped for him coming back from getting the brain tumor removed. Obviously, all of his like cognitive skills weren't quite there. Now he's working back, like his motor skills, and it seems to be back. It's a great story. I hope Gary Woodland does well. I just don't want him to beat my guys when I have money on them.
I mean, the U.S. Open Pebble flies lovely. I love Gary. It was great to see. Sure, the win, like there'll be finite opportunities probably for it. I don't think he's a great course fit potentially coming up. As for the putting, you mentioned last week, Pat, like look who had won in Houston before. Finau, Carlos Ortiz. I'm forgetting someone else you mentioned, but like it's got Kokrak. It's got a history of like lifting shitty putters. So that is a lane, and we saw some guys, are able to take it. It was just great to see, and there's so many great stories around Gary. One of the better ones I saw in the last month, Pat, was his caddy, longtime caddy, Canadian, Jays fan. Plays with remember when he won the U.S. Open, he had Jays on his yardage book. He qualified for the senior U.S. Open, and the bet was if he qualified, Gary has to caddy for him. So we're going to get a great Gary story later in the summer with him working the bag in reverse. But yeah, there'll be courses that work, maybe something in the swing season, but I'm not looking to be having Gary Woodland on outright cards at the moment, especially at 50 to 1 when there are some like pretty decent players here.
Yeah, there's real dudes. I can't recall the last time. I mean, at this point of the year, they had to run the split tees because of the weather. So it was the 3-man final group that I had outright bets on each of the 3 guys in the final group.
Incredible.
Well,
only one of them held the line
you say
for
incredible.
the each way.
I going into the final day, I was like, I just need one of Toasty and Fox to make the run here because I had top 8s on both of them as well, and Toasty's top 8 ended up paying 35 to 1. I was like, and he made the birdie on 18 to get the full places, which was just tremendous for me. We need more Toasty on our screens. I wish he was better and was in contention more often because he's doing this shit every week. Just no one pays attention because he's never on TV. And just the visceral reaction that people have to him just warms my heart. If he does this long enough, if LIV stays in business, he's going to be on LIV soon enough. They're going to take the one good character that we have.
Yeah, he could play on Torquay.
Sure, you get him anywhere. But just have him on my screen. The funniest thing was the decision that Minwoo made to eventually take the unplayable. When was the last time you saw someone take an unplayable that it didn't work out in their favor? Like in contention. Because the only other one I really remember is Rory at Quail Hollow a few years ago.
Yeah, you're right. You're saying always just take the unplayable.
Just you're up by a bunch. Yeah. Do not
live for another moment.
Don't make an 8. Make 6 at worst here. And he made par anyway. So it really wasn't that big of a deal. He got it out and flicked his wedge like 5 feet and made the putt. It was a great move. And I'm just like, how much do you think he relied on his caddy? Because we got a lot of back and forth between Minwoo and his caddy, just like some grizzled old vet that really talked him off the ledge a few times, it felt like.
Yeah, Bo Martin. He was on Lowry's bag at Portrush. And they hooked up this year. And obviously he's just been a top 20 machine. So they've been good. And there was they got some great combos in there. And you got that thick like Irish accent
with the Aussie.
Minwoo likes to discourse. So yeah, I enjoyed it. As the smart play, Toasty a firecracker. I love that guy, but how do I put this? Like we'd all bet him if we knew, we trusted him with the putter. And I think you can't. I mean, I guess people can react however they want, but people betting on Toasty, crying that Toasty's missing short putts.
Well, that's part of the game.
You're not allowed to do it. That's like betting on Jameis Winston and then freaking out about a pick 6. It's part of it. It's the reason he's not 80 to 1. on a field like that. I love the guy. Hopefully more of them. I mean, him to be one day good enough to get to a President's Cup
Oh,
and like just fuck around, put his vibe on one of those like elite Americans would be such great TV for an afternoon.
imagine him with Patrick Cantlay.
Like just any of
Put him in singles against each other and just see what happens.
any of them. Honestly, any of those pampered fucks. And you can say the same about the top guys on Europe, but he can't play against Europe. But sure, more Toasty. Toasty finding his way into a big moment. Late Toasty tea times. Oh, that it is so good. Yeah, and I get him. Minwoo took a lot of time. He took a lot of time, even before being in the lead. He is a very not one of the faster players on tour, and obviously in trouble in the lead. Things really slowed down. Toasty, Toasty was amped. I love it. Ryan Fox too on those putts, man.
Oh, that was well. I wonder if this is a thing because like starting to look at because it was wet. Like this course is normally super hard, but it rained so much the first few days. I got lift, clean, and replace, which was especially helpful around the greens that you could fluff up your lie, give yourself exactly where you wanted to go. So it helped out some of the. It really increased the ability of the very elite short game players to get their ball within like an inch every single time. You even saw Minwoo chip in. I think he chipped in twice over the course of the week. And then on Sunday, it was like pure flusher ball strikers who ended up getting it done when there was a bit of mud on the ball, or if you didn't hit it into the fairway, like some of those lies in the rough, they weren't sitting down, but they may have gotten something on the ball. The lies weren't as good. So it became a bit harder, and that kind of affected Minwoo, Fox, and Toasty the most, it felt like. And obviously, they're not the same quality. I mean, Minwoo might be, but when we're talking about Wyndham Clark or even Woodland, they're both major winners. You had, obviously, Scheffler and Rory start to go on their runs as well. That it felt like the lift, clean, and replace equalized the field just a little bit, that it allowed some of the mid-tier talent to really maximize what they had. Obviously, Scheffler tied the course record on Friday, so it helped those guys too, but it felt like it brought more guys into the fold. But when I looked at the leaderboard, I was like, this is like a links tournament on the DP World Tour. Look at this leaderboard. And even to see the end of it, like Fox was still up there. Jesper Svensson played really well. Obviously, Wacky Valimaki ended up making his run. Minwoo wins. Toasty's up there. Like, these are guys I think about, like even that rotation of courses, that all those guys can play well there. And just think about Valimaki now. He has a fourth here. He has, I think he was like T11 at Farmers. He was second at Mexico before. Like all of these things end up going together. They're just spray and pray. This is basically a link style course without like the rolling hills.
Yeah. And when you consider some of the up and down situations that you have to encounter, I could agree with that. And when you first mentioned like not being able to lift, clean, in place and it being a bit of a neutralizer, the first thing I thought of was Toasty in the fairway on one, hitting it 30 yards. I guess that water, like it's to the left and the back of the green. I don't want to say he missed long and left or long
He missed
or
left.
both.
He missed left is what he
Yeah.
he hit a hook is what he hit. I was like, oh, well, it's over for Toasty. That was a fun 2 shots. I got the sweat.
And then he had a couple, like obviously Toasty will always give you birdie looks to get them right back. And it is a firecracker. And shout out to, I mean, it was a great call. He was kind of popular for a guy that long. So great call. Even Fox for a guy that long. Everyone saw the lane. And hopefully there are ways outside of the win market that people were able to profit on those guys.
Yeah, well, the first round leader bet I made on Toasty, because I made the outright bet for first round leader, and I made the top 5 bet. And because it was a 5-way chop at the top, and the top 5 paid 1/4 the odds, the top 5 bet on Toasty first round leader ended up paying more than the first round leader bet. Never seen that happen before. The top 5 paid 27-1, and the first round leader paid 22-1.
Oh, that's so good. Well, not exactly, but okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good. My buddy told me the highest Rory live he saw was a 400.
Rory never had a chance. As much as even watching it, Rory never had a chance to win.
Oh yeah, it would have had to like birdie out, I guess.
Birdie, yeah, like the dude would have had to shoot 58 or something like that in order to win. When it all came down to it. How many shots did he finish back at Minwoo? 3? Rory finished 5 shots off the lead, and Minwoo gave some back.
Yeah, no, all those holes Rory was rolling on, Minwoo went on to birdie until he put one in the drink late.
Yeah, Rory would have had to shoot 59 to get himself into a playoff, which would have been 13 under. It wasn't going to happen. But it was good to see him. Like, how do you feel about Rory's form now? I released a bit of the form guide that I'm putting out on Twitter last night. So Scheffler comes in T2, T20, T11, T3, T25 in his past 5 starts. Rory's past 5 starts, T5 first, T15, T17 first.
I don't want to be that guy. It's like now or fucking never. I don't want to say never because he always shows up with the chance, and I'm not betting it. I was on it at the U.S. Open last year. It was heartbreak. It was incredible until it wasn't, and I'll cry. I'll cry for him if he does it. But yeah, holy fuck, Pat. And I know I get hyperbolic with this. How many fucking guys can win next week?
I was
22?
looking. I was looking at it.
Is that high?
It feels like
22 might be generous.
I was gonna say there's like 6 guys who could win.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Thank you. I mean, you said it. I was, I guess, too big of a pussy to want to say it. I don't know. Yeah, that's where my head is at. I haven't decided which one's going to win. I don't even know how to bet them at those numbers because I don't want to be that cocky about it. But yeah, 22 might be high. And again, I'm a psychopath. But there's a scenario where I've already thought where like I am blindly going to say that if you have a 500-day plus win drought, you're not winning the Masters. So at that point,
Bo
that's just
Hostler
me.
is off the list.
Bo Hostler's off. Yeah, there's a lot of guys, but like that right there, that eliminates Justin and Colin, who are both playing great. It eliminates Cantley, who Pat. You know, sometimes we have like our wheel of losers and shit. I want to do one thing. I'm workshopping in my head, so I'm saying this too quickly. Like our power ranking of unserious golfers. And Cam Young would be on it. Tony Finau, sir, and your 2-inch putt is on it. Like who else? And I'm trying like Cantley might be I'm fighting in my own brain. Like is Cantley an unserious golfer? He might be.
Well,
he might be.
I can let you know that Cust picked Cantley as his one and done this week, but he's already used Cantley, so he had to switch off of Cantley. I feel like the last time that happened, the guy went on to win.
And without getting too into it, I don't know that I'd bet it. I've made worse Cantley bets in the past. I don't think Cantley's a horrible bet this year. I look at a guy this week. I look at a guy like Cantley and think, like for top players, yes, next week is like paramount. Next week is everything. But if you haven't won in like 4 fucking years, 3.5 years, like that's paramount. That's everything. So, yeah, I don't think Cantley's a bad bet. I saw 18. I haven't made a single bet this week yet, though. You think with the accounts flowing, I'd have wanted to throw it? Nothing. One thing popped, but I didn't want to rush to move on it, and it doesn't look like that'll backfire.
No, there's a few guys that I have circled that I want to either figure out if the odds drift on them and more or less gauge the market on it because I don't love what their odds are right now, and I've seen them start to slip a little bit, so I just want to see where they end up falling down to. But we'll get more on that in a second. You know where the broadcast really failed on Sunday?
Where?
There was a race for the last Masters invitation that was just not mentioned on the broadcast, which I thought was crazy. Now, there were parts of the broadcast I really liked, And someone even pointed out, and I thought exactly the same thing in the moment when the guy tweeted it at me, that Ben Griffin and Michael Kim were fighting for the last Masters spot. And Michael Kim had to par number 18 because he made bogey on 17 in order to give himself a chance. And Ben Griffin, if he went birdie out, then he would end up getting to number 50 in the world past Michael Kim by 1 spot. And so Ben Griffin had a 5-foot putt on number 8, the par 5, and he missed it. And then he stuck it to 5 feet on number 9 on the par 3 and made it. Had he have made both those putts, he ends up in the Masters and Michael Kim is out. Shout out to our friend Michael Kim, friend of the show, for getting himself into the Masters. I would fully expect him to WD from Valero now that has happened, now that he's officially in and doesn't need to win and get in. But like, that's high drama right there. And instead you're showing Ryan Gerard line up a putt for 180 seconds.
When you said it here, it didn't register, but when I heard about that last night, I was unaware. Like after the fact, maybe it was the same Twitter thread. Shout out to Michael Kim, way to go, buddy. And snickering inside that the face that I feel when I see Brandon Staley's face isn't going to Augusta. Sorry, buddy. Hit your 5-footer next time.
I mean, Ben Griffin might win this week and get himself to Augusta.
Maybe.
Like, he's the sort of player that would win Valero.
I agree. There's a certain profile that I like, and there are like maybe better versions of Ben Griffin and more expensive versions of Ben Griffin that I've sort of looked at, but wouldn't shock me.
But isn't that crazy? Like, you're trying to manufacture, and there was a lot of drama, especially because Minwoo gave them some coming down the stretch. You had a great Woodland storyline. You had Kisner being very upset with Toasty the entire time, which I thought was hysterical. Like, fuck off, Kisner. You're an asshole too. Like, figure it out. Have a bit of self-awareness. And then you have this other alternate storyline going on the other side of the course with Griffin, like, to fill some of this time in. Like, that's a huge moment for both those guys to get themselves into the Masters. And it just wasn't referenced at all. It's like they didn't know it was happening.
So here's my question to you then, Pat. Did they not know it wasn't, like, did the director, the truck, not know about this, or they were just choosing not to see it?
I have to believe that they just didn't know, which seems impossible if you produce a sporting event.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. There's a lot of high drama going, but there's got to be someone like a Justin Ray who has a direct line to them. I don't mean Justin specifically, but, you know, a stats research guy that is aware of certain... my leg got stuck in a wire there. I almost brought the whole operation down.
Good thing the camera was on you. We would have caught that. That would have been fine.
Yeah. You know, my... not full, like, surgically repaired leg. My surgically repaired leg is feeling a lot better than my not surgically repaired leg these days.
Really? Are you thinking about getting, like, surgery on that other knee to make it, you know, up to snuff now?
You know, I actually think something has been wrong in there. Have had a few minor injuries that I've probably never taken care of. Anyhow, you know, I don't want to Al Bundy this, so let's just move on. It's been a long time. But if I would have guessed 3 years ago which leg would go first, it would have been that one. So that's why I feel like my less stable wheel is the one that held up. We'll see how that goes. Shit. Where were we? Ben Griffin. Ben truck. Griffin. Yeah, screw. I don't know. Epic fail. Like, it's honestly embarrassing. But you know what, Pat? I don't think.
Do you think it's
just no one cared? Hold on.
Do you think it's cared? Do you think it's because that NBC doesn't have the Masters?
No.
Okay.
I don't. I think they show the Masters a lot of grace. They talk about how the course. There's a lot of shots where they mention how this in the Masters and it's relative, and the Houston setup, you hear it on the broadcast. So I don't think to not acknowledge the Masters would be the dumbest thing ever. In the same, no. I just think they don't know, and unfortunately, this is where we lose. No one cares. Like we care and the audience like us care, but no one actually cares. And what I mean by that is this sort of like mistake would get exposed in like an Andrew Marchand or a John Ormrad like weekly sports broadcasting newsletter like bit. You know, the good, the bad in all the other sports. And I'm a loser who actually likes that stuff. I will not see that in there this week. I will not. I just promise you I won't. So we care, but it doesn't even like register as it like being a mistake to people who cover sports media, not because it wasn't a mistake, but just because like, you know, we cheer for like roller derby with a bigger audience. But I don't know. I could get into this even more. I don't. I do want to say, and maybe this will be held against me, I don't think Kevin Kisner's any good. I think all the love he got is just because of the floor being so fucking low. The floor is so fucking low that guys like him and Smiley can be bad and like people think it's good or it was like better than before. But the bar was set so goddamn low that Kevin Kisner could be doing a good job. I don't even believe it.
Remember the few tournaments that Luke Donald did?
He's outstanding.
He was great. Yeah, and maybe it's a bias that I have when I'm watching golf, and maybe you do as well. Not being, I assume like a lot of golf fans are, you know, in the southern part of the United States, that you hear that accent and that triggers like good vibes for you. But when I'm thinking of my golf color commentator, like Johnny Miller was one thing. It's not that he was crass, but he was forceful, and you do kind of miss him now that he's not there. But there's something about having an international accent as the color guy that just registers with me immediately. I don't love Immelman, but he has the right voice.
I certainly would agree with that. It's not Kisner's accent. It's not Kisner's accent that bothers me. Doesn't bother me. It's actually never registered in my mind as bothering me. I just don't know that he's any good. And I feel like he's been anointed into a chair that I don't know if he's good enough to have. But maybe my standards are too high. But I would say your floor is way too fucking low. Your acceptance level. I don't mean you, Pat. I just mean like NBC's or the decision maker or the casual. Yeah, they could do way better. They could do way better. I mean it. Something else, just quickly, you know, because golf gets beaten up a lot, and it is, and we beat it up here. My buddy, who's not really even into golf that much, but like has to sit around and hear a lot of his friends talk about golf, thinks everything we complain about is so overblown. And to that, I mean, like, he's a big basketball fan. Obviously, the NBA's got its own issues. But, like, golf, like golf in the overall sporting scene, it actually has more dates than we want to give it credit for. And I'm not talking about the circus schedule that they run. That all just gets lost, out of sight, out of mind, or it's just repetitive. But when you consider, like, baseball, like, how many... Like, it's got opening day, it's got the All-Star game, and then it's got like the World Series, and obviously playoffs can be exciting. You know, it's got like 3 to 5 like tentpole moments. What does golf have? It's got its 4 fucking majors, it's got the Ryder Cup, and like maybe the Players is worth a fart, and the Olympics I think next time will be worth a lot. It's got like its 4 or 5 tentpole moments. Like, that's it. That's all you get. If you're not football, that's all you get. That's all you get. So golf's doing fine. It's doing fine. There's that. There's that.
There is a chicken little sky is falling element to anyone who covers golf because it's not as popular as they want it to be. But as long as golf is sustainable, and I think that's the biggest problem that we see right now, is that we all kind of wonder with these big paydays, and we see advertisers leaving, and we see what the ratings are. I don't really care what the ratings are. I mean, if they were able to play the PGA and only me and you watched it, as long as they were able to play it, I don't really give a shit. As long as it's on, I like watching it. I don't care who else watches it. But do we start to see some of the tournaments crumble? If you lose the sponsors, is it sustainable to be paying these guys this much money? And they only did it to compete with LIV, who was trying to drain their bank accounts. That's where I worry about it. The other stuff is, I don't care. Who cares who watches?
So then, but like all I take from that is you're saying like the circus schedule could get diminished a bit.
I don't know, honestly. I don't know how that works. I don't think it's the Utah Open that's really sticking it to them. I think there's probably enough sponsor money to cover those events. It's when you're giving away $30 million at the players.
And I wish I could give credit to who had the podcast. And I sent you the clip of it, but it was a great point made by an agent in golf who pretty much said, like, through the course of golf, the player sponsorship, what the players were getting as sponsorship numbers, it would like rise with the player purses. It would rise, like it would match, like the trajectories would match. But player sponsorships have like nosedived and purses have gone like this, right? Like the players aren't worth anything other than 2 or 3 of them. And the purses have gone like this. And that is completely unsustainable. And that like just went off in my head like, holy shit, he's right. Like really, outside of 3 of them, they are worth nothing.
Well, did you see that RFK might be banning the dick pill ads?
I mean, that's incredible. Listen, I wish someone, I'm going to say this, and then I don't want you to turn into RFK on me. But I saw a clip.
Can I do the RFK voice?
No, but there's some like really fucking fat governor that
Oh,
was giving
I saw
RFK a hard time. He's like, buddy, you should be doing monthly weigh-ins.
No,
you want the respect of the constituency? Get on the scale monthly.
He told the guy when I met him, I thought you ate the old guy. It's like, Jesus Christ, RFK. But if they get rid of pharmaceutical ads on TV, I think Golf Channel goes under, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, Golf Channel's already in a bit of trouble because there was like a split off from Comcast and even like MSNBC. Like there's a big spin-off over there, and those cable channels aren't under the old umbrella. Yeah, you could be right. Yeah, they need it. I mean, what advertises on golf? It's like dick pills, heart medication. You said it. The more reverse mortgages.
Yeah, we're gonna see a lot more Tom Selleck on the Golf Channel, I think.
Watches, yeah.
NetJets,
a lot. I don't vacation packages, but you're not wrong. Golf Channel would be probably in huge trouble. The dick pills, that's where they're gonna go after the blue chews and stuff.
I think so. I mean, I don't know if that I guess that would be under. I would assume that's under the umbrella of pharmaceuticals, which is weird. Like, are we allowed to in Canada? Can you have pharmaceutical commercials? Because I feel like I don't see any.
They're very different and they have to be direct. But yes, you can because they're usually. I remember Ozempic was like the title sponsor.
Oh yeah, the Olympics. No, it wasn't Ozempic. It was the other one.
Oh, sure. I don't. You just released the Cust Corner where we went in on this.
That did come out last week. I think people missed that one in their feeds. Go check that out right now. And because this is Masters Week, everyone, obviously I'm giving away the $5,000 package when you go to CoolBet and you hit that link. But, the ratings, the reviews, the subs, everything like that, I'll be doing extra giveaways. If you want to get yourself prepped for those, sub to the Pat Mayo Experience on Apple and Spotify. Give me your winner in the comment section anywhere, but turn on those auto downloads. That would really help me out. Munjaro is the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, so you can, but your commercials, you can't. No, I think in Canada, you can't like show commercials of like just people singing and dancing in the street, having a great time as you like talk about your side effects.
That feels fair. I'm not gonna lie.
I could be wrong, but yeah, I know there is some rule. We got some rule. We can't roll out the commercials here like they get rolled out. But we scare you straight in different ways, like buy a pack of cigarettes or something.
Oh yeah, buy a pack. Listen, as someone who casually dabbles in smoking after smoking for a very, very long time, those deterrents did not help. It was the same in Britain though. Like when I went to London, I looked at the cig pack and they had like tongue cancer on them. I was like, well, That's going to suck for me, but I'm going to smoke these cigarettes.
I'm all over the map here. I forget where we were.
Were we talking about, there's that Rebelsis ad where they only say Rebelsis, but it doesn't tell you what to do. I feel like that one's very disingenuous. Like, I got my Rebelsis. I'm on Rebelsis too. Like, what the fuck is Rebelsis? I think Cam's on Rebelsis.
Listen, I'm sure my journey into those will start soon. Needing all those fancy old people medications, but not there yet.
Last thing before we leave Houston and the weekend. I didn't see much from baseball opening weekend except for torpedo bats. Do you think they can use that technology in golf clubs, or do they steal the golf club technology and put it in baseball bats?
Yeah, I think they stole from golf. I think that would be my big takeaway. I get in a month the whole league will be using them, right? So they're good enough.
They might be Yankees proprietary technology. Like, they developed them in house. I don't know if anyone else has access to this stuff.
I don't know, because I saw the PhD guy that they already had doing it works for the Marlins now. So I don't know. I think the funny thing is about this story, if like the Rays were doing it, or like the Diamondbacks or the Rockies, it'd be like some cute thing, I think. But because the Yankees are doing it, and don't get me wrong, I can't fucking stand the Yankees. I think it's just like, it's a whole other level. But, I mean, I don't know the exact rules. I think it's a decent, not really relative to baseball per se, but you do see in golf, you do see in hockey, the amount of like consistent technology upgrades in the sticks, shafts, clubs. So baseball kind of feels like it's been lagging.
I would tend to agree. Well, we're going to get to the Valero Texas Open, but we have two brand new sponsors we're bringing on, so I want you to check out Bird Dogs and X Golf, especially if you live in a place that's still not warm enough to hit the course. Be right back. Outdoor golf season is almost here, but is your swing ready? With 126 X Golf locations across 38 states, it's never been easier to dial in your swing year-round. I can speak to this. Going to the simulators all winter long, especially the good ones. You can go to crappy simulators. You don't want to go there. You want to go to X Golf and really prep your game and hit the season firing. X Golf's state-of-the-art simulators let you play full rounds, tee to green with unmatched short game realism. X Golf's Auto Tee system ensures you're always ready to bomb a drive. No delays or automatic two-putts, just real, competitive golf in a lively sports bar environment. Love a little competition? X Golf's handicap leagues and tournaments give every golfer a shot at winning incredible prizes. Upcoming spring tournaments include the Majors, where you could win a beach or mountain vacation, or the Cinco de Mayo Scramble, win a trip to New Belgium Brewery in Asheville, and that is just the start. So visit playxgolf.com to find your nearest X Golf and book your tee time today. Again, trust me on this. You're going to want to go to X Golf. So visit playxgolf.com. Now that the weather's heating up for almost everyone, you need to flip your wardrobe. And if you're anything like me, summertime means more outfit changes. Golf, work, gym, playground with the kids, restaurants, whatever it is that you do, it probably requires a change of clothing. What you need are shorts and pants that look the part for all those places that are actually comfortable. And that's a hard thing to do. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who's tried wearing a pair of regular golf shorts to dinner after playing earlier that day, only to have your wife tell you that you need to go change because now you're dressed like that creepy guy at the office who wears a golf shirt and golf shorts to work every single day, and it's just a real bad vibe. But here's the thing. Since I've started wearing Bird Dogs, hasn't said a word. They look the part for the course and everywhere else. Plus, unlike my dressier shorts, Bird Dogs are actually comfortable. They look the same, but they're not just chafing the inside of my thighs the entire time. I basically wear them everywhere now. And when I was at Pinehurst, a place that's really not known for the casual look, I was able to wear my Bird Dogs while I was playing, and then I wore the exact same shorts to the dress code steakhouse later that night. Everyone was uncomfortable as they were filling their guts with food. Not Pat Mayo, because I have my Bird Dogs. No issues whatsoever. And for a limited time, my listeners get a free hat with any order when you use code PATMAYO at birddogs.com. Get this hat, completely free when you use code PATMAYO at birddogs.com. Show support for the Pat Mayo experience and let them know that I sent you. Welcome back. I do want to remind everyone that there are 2 giant contests on Underdog right now that you can go draft. There's the Majors Only draft, and we're doing a Majors Only draft on this show tomorrow, but it's only going to be 4 of us and not the 6 that you draft against in the Underdog leagues. And there's also a contest called the Scramble Returns, which is a rest of the season best ball draft. It doesn't include every tournament, it doesn't include the team event or any of the alternate events. I have a full strategy article written on that already. I'll be releasing that towards the end of the week. Do you want to guess what the strategy is for the Scramble Returns, Jeff?
I saw you talking about Taylor Pendrith on the internet.
I did. So there's a few skeleton key players. So this is the way that I've tried to figure it out. I used the Fantasy National season-long planner to help me out with this and tried to make some guesses, because I mean a lot of this is guesswork. I have no idea the best move is to draft players that win all the time and do really well. I don't know how to do that. So I'm just going to try to pick as many people that play as often as possible, but there's 3 groups for it. And the first group is only 4 tournaments. It's the Masters, Heritage, Byron Nelson, and the Truist, which used to be Wells Fargo, not at Quail Hollow this year, but it's a major, 2 signature events, and the Byron Nelson. So the key to actually getting through the first round is to find guys that are going to play in all 4 tournaments. And there's not very many guys that are going to play in all 4 of those tournaments. Like Scotty is going to play in all 4, unless he skips one of the signature events, which I don't think that he'll do. And then you got Pendrith. Pendrith will play in them all because he's the defending champion at Byron Nelson, which makes it huge for him in that sense. So you're going to get like him, Pendrith. Siwoo's weird because Siwoo's in all of the signature events and he'll play Byron Nelson, but he's not in the Masters unless he wins this week. So I thought that was a very interesting strategy. And then the other guys are all the Asian dudes because they're all sponsored. It's the CJ Cup CJ Cup Byron Nelson. So anyone who has CJ on their hat is going to play in the Byron Nelson. So you get Sung Jae and Ben An as well. Aaron Rai has played it a bunch of years. I'm going to have like the full details on all of this. I just thought it was a really weird strategy that the Byron Nelson becomes so key to advancing from the first round.
That's intriguing.
Yeah. And not only that, you have to get out of the first round, but after you get out of it, so much of advancing from rounds 2 and then the final round are going to be like the high-end Euros. So you need to be able to like structure your team in weird ways where you need to take like 4 really good guys. Hopefully they overlap with the Byron Nelson. Then you need to draft like 3 of Tommy, Rye, Bobby, all the guys that play in the Scottish and Canadian Open where the other big guys don't, but still get all the big events. And then you need to draft 2 or 3 guys who aren't in anything but the crappy events. So you can pick off Rocket Mortgage, you can pick off John Deere, and those sorts of events. It's a really weird tournament if you're trying to optimize your teams. But I wrote all about it. I'll have it out at the end of the week. And the number one thing that you can remember for that specific tournament is no LIV guys, because they only play in the majors. And use code Mayo at Underdog to get yourself that deposit bonus of up to $1,000 because hey, you can draft your teams with the bonus money and then have the rest left over to fire at pick'em games and get a free pick along with it. But Pendrith and the Canadians work out really well because Pendrith will play Byron Nelson and he'll play the Canadian Open. And he generally plays Rocket Mortgage too, but he might be too good now to start playing in the Rocket Mortgage. Like you have to start weighing these things too.
I actually think Pendrith will be above the Rocket Mortgage now.
I think he will too. So I actually wrote up Hadwin as a guy because he's in all the signature events. He's not in any majors. So he's going to have to play all the second tier events in order to keep his tour card.
You never know with Pendy though. Like he's a Toronto boy. Detroit is pretty freaking close. I'm not saying I actually think he lives in Jupiter. So I mean, I don't know what being a Toronto boy is, but he might like be some localized pressure. I don't know. Do Canadians like flock to Detroit?
But I mean, by and large, Connors doesn't play, but the rest of them usually do. Aaron Rye is someone who picked up a lot of these tournaments, but he wasn't in he's in every major now, and he doesn't need to play those events to get in. So you kind of want to target, like I thought that the key to the bottom of your lineup is to find the guys who have exemptions to all of the signature events, but aren't in majors and are actually fighting to keep their tour cards. Like Hadwin is kind of the perfect guy for that. He's in everything. Siwoo's another one. He's in no majors, but all the signature events, and they'll just go out and play all these like goober events, and hopefully it doesn't matter where you finish as long as you make birdies. Like finishing position doesn't matter for this tournament. So you either go big on birdies at like, listen, I'd rather have an Adam Hadwin at the John Deere than anyone at the US Open, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And I think that's actually an excellent game theory. If you're playing the contests, I encourage anyone. I wish I could. It's banned in Ontario. Insane that it is.
Banned in New York now too.
Oh. Okay. Well, yeah. I don't know if you're fortunate enough to play. It's a lot of fun. And a great opportunity. And I might next week being the Masters, might be going for a drive. Might be hitting up North Tonawanda, Buffalo. Make some DK lineups.
There you go. Yeah, and
underdog lineups.
And draft some underdog teams when you use code Mayo. And then you can register for the contest too to win a free trip to your hometown. I would hope the winner at least has to get on an airplane. Well, since you can't enter in Ontario, then presumably you would have to get on an airplane to go there.
Good. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
All right, let's talk Valero Texas Open. Breaking news from my DMs. Michael Kim is not playing in the Valero Texas Open.
And what day is he joining? When's he joining you again?
I don't know. I don't want to put too much pressure on him to come on. He said he said he'd join me sometime this week. Hopefully it's Thursday or Friday. But if he passes, he passes. I wouldn't blame him after playing 8 straight weeks, then preparing for the Masters. But I'd love to have him on even for like 20 minutes.
Of course. And if you get him on, if it's after, it's after. You're not going to what are you going to do? You're not going to light him up. You're just going to.
Yeah, I'm going to ask him if he wants to come on. If he does, that'd be great. You should tweet at Michael Kim right now. Be like, hey, we'd love to hear you talk about the Masters with Pat this week. And then he'll probably do it. He'll get cyberbullied into doing it.
Throw in a congrats also. You don't have to call him the most improved golfer.
He is the most improved golfer.
But he is. He is his leveling up this year. I don't want to say I'm quite surprised by it. I don't know if he is as surprised as a golf loving outsider is, but it's been incredible. It's been incredible to see. So full congrats.
The very top of the board at the Valero Texas Open, we're bringing on our brand new odds sponsor for the Pat Mayo experience, CoolBet.com is where you can go. So all these odds are provided by CoolBet. We are giving away that $5,000 trip giveaway. Flights to Toronto, hotels, tickets to the Canadian Open, tickets to Blue Jays, tickets to the PME Live, where those tickets will go on sale very soon to the public. Just go to the drop page that I have in the description right now, and you can go enter that. It's Valero, Masters, and Heritage. If you bet on golf and you live outside of Ontario and Canada, you can do it. If you just want the Masters pool, you can get that anywhere in the world. You can print it off, bring it into your office, or play with your friends, whatever it might be. We have that up there as a service provided for you as well. But they are the official betting sportsbook odds sponsor of the Pat Mayo experience, and they have Ludwig Oberg, your guy, at 12-1, Jeff. Tommy, your other guy. This might as well be the Geoff Fienberg Classic. Ludwig 12, Tommy 14, Connors 18, along with Cantlay. Hideki has slipped to 20. Spieth and Keegan are 22, the defending champ, a guy that I hit as an outright winner here last year. Akshay Bhatia is 25-1, and then we're down to Denny and Daniel Berger, 33-40. 3 guys popped out to me. I really wanted to bet Spieth, but I'm just not betting him at 22-1. I'm waiting for the Keegan odds to fall. I really like Keegan this week.
So nothing popped for me. On first look, the first thing I did when seeing the odds this week was to see how bad Sam Burns has been. But other than that, Berger, maybe it'll be a bit less popular out of Florida.
Love Berger here, but his odds are down to 33. Yeah, you can actually get it. Here's the thing. If you hit the exclusives tab on CoolBet starting Monday afternoon, you will be able to get Daniel Berger at 40-1 instead of 33-1 as a PME boost.
Yeah, so Berger as high as I can get him would be something I'm looking at, but I'm not kidding, Pat. Like part of me just thought, maybe we just roll light what I'm going to say, how you going to roll light, but I just mean play Ludwig, play Tommy,
What?
like it's a playoff game, first touchdown bet. Like just some small recreational and then just be done and I'll see you guys at Augusta. I love building a card too much.
Hold on.
I love building a card
your
too much.
idea of fun for this weekend is betting Tommy Fleetwood at 14 to 1?
Not exactly. Not exactly. Yeah, he's on. If he doesn't have a win mode to want to bet there, more so Ludwig, more so Ludwig.
Do you think this is, do you think this is a good Ludwig course? Obviously, he's the favorite. He has the best opportunity to win, but this isn't one I'd peg as like. I talk about like Akshay and Connors. Like that type of player does really well at Valero, and that's not Ludwig.
I would just look at his resume from his first year on tour and his first year playing in Europe. Hold on. There's been 2 wins, but
that wasn't last. It wasn't in the past. He won RSM. Like
I'm just saying, if you look at his career on tour, he goes to places he's never been before. He plays outstanding.
He's played here twice.
And how's he finished?
Good.
Yeah. So I honestly, I'll be honest. I don't know that like guy goes to short courses and he plays great.
He's a great player. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that at 12 to 1. He was 14th here last year. He missed the cut the other time that he played it.
I don't think the 12 to 1 is a wrong number.
No, but it's I don't necessarily know if it's wrong. I don't really think he should be 12 to 1 in any tournament. Okay, but we all know that golf odds are propping guys up here. Like realistically, Scheffler should be 8 to 1 to 12 to 1, along with Rory in every tournament. We're just never going to get that. Well, the problem is I think this is a tournament that allows for this mid-range to be more competitive. If you get got by one of the top guys, you get got. But I don't want to really figure that out at 12 to 1 with Ludwig. If Ludwig was 20 to 1, sure. But 12 to 1, maybe I'll take Ben Griffin instead for 6 times the odds.
Okay. So as we come full circle, that's where I would have finished here. Because I just, A, have too much fun over the next 2.5 days, like building my card. And B, it's a week before the major. Like this is, since we've got the elevateds out of majors now, where we used to love taking long shots, right? Like sort of fading some guys that had grueling weeks. Those were opportunities for long shots. We're bordered week before, week after. We just have the week before now. And I've got to fire down the board. So yeah, we would have ended up in the same place anyway. Week before major, to your point, there feels like there's always opportunity, especially when Tommy Fleetwood is 14 to 1 and he's not a killer. He's not a killer. He's not a killer. Of the high end though, I would say, I think I already alluded to it. Cantley as high as you can get him. Like Cantley 20, 22.
What would you get? So again, this came up when I was going through all my Masters stuff. What do you think that Patrick Cantley's last 5 finishes are?
Not as bad as you're framing the question, I don't think.
No, they're fine, but I feel like you're talking about him in an era like where he's been really, really good. He was T12.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
T5, I just think T33. Like he's been good, but
12th at the Players, 30th at Arnold Palmer, 5th at the Genesis. Like I don't know. That's fine.
Good. Yeah, it's good, but I wouldn't be like, oh man, I need. If there's ever a week to get on Cantley, like now is the week.
I just called him an unserious golfer 10 minutes ago,
and now you're saying I want to bet Patrick Cantley at the biggest number I
don't
can find.
think 20 is a bad number against this field and his skill set. I don't know if he's ever hit a golf ball in Texas before, though.
Ooh, you can use Fantasy National to use strokes gained Texas.
Match plays like when they were in Austin, but that doesn't really count. Those are like forced appearances.
Cantley has 10 rounds in Texas. Let's see when they're from. Nope, that's clicking on the wrong link. There's Jordan Spieth. Like I would rather bet Spieth than Cantley this week.
Oh no, I mean I'm not. I would rather swallow two points and bet Connors and Cantley over Spieth. No. I'm not betting Spieth at 22. No.
Spieth has, let's see here. Spieth has gained. I mean, his results are, I mean, they're a bit wobblier than Cantlay's, but they're still 28th, 59th, 9th, miscut 4th. He's gained 7 strokes on approach in 2 of those tournaments. He's playing like the Goober tournaments well. He's just playing the Strongfield tournaments poorly. This is a Goober tournament.
Cantlay only plays strong tournaments. Now he's showing up to Goober.
Hey, he plays the Amex every year and doesn't win it. So the last time that Cantlay played a competitive non-match play round in Texas was 2018.
Yeah, so that is my bigger. Nothing you've said to me concerns me. I don't think I'm talking I look at his stat profile. I think and when you bet a guy, you bet to the ceiling. I don't think Cantlay at 20-1 is a bad bet. I think a player, like I said, sometimes he's week before the majors, as much as there's opportunity down the board, or I shouldn't say the week before the majors, some of these lesser events, I don't know. I think he's desperate to win. I'm not worried about like Masters prep if I'm betting on.
Oh, I don't give a shit about that. I would just prefer to lean towards Keegan, honestly. Keegan and Berger were the two that popped out to me the most of any player. But I can see making a case for Akshay. I can see making the case for Connors. I just don't love his odds. And I think Spieth will slip a little bit if you can start grabbing him at 25, 28 later in the week. I don't mind that as well. I don't know how popular he's going to be. I remember this was the course where he got that win after his
he's going to be popular.
First dip.
I'd rather bet Bocce. I'd rather bet Keegan. I get why he's there. No thanks.
Okay. You see a lot in his game right now. Like he's either gaining a bunch off the tee and then losing on approach, or he's gaining the most in the field on approach, but losing a little bit off the tee or not making his putts that week. This seems to be this is a very happy course for him over time. That I think that this would be a nice breakout spot for him. Wouldn't that be awesome, though? Because I keep talking about this, like, what's the best thing for golf? It's obviously Spieth winning. I actually think now that Rory winning the Masters would be the best thing for golf, but if you got a Spieth win heading into the Masters, that'd be perfect.
I don't think anything compares with Rory winning the Masters at this point. Like, nothing. Other than Tiger fucking walking on water.
Well, I mean, we'll talk about that. I mean, I think Bryson and Spieth are pretty close to winning. Like, if they want to be like, oh, shit, here we go. That'd be great. I think people just want... I mean, but you have to remember, there's so many people hate Rory, too, that they want to see him fail.
Yeah, I know. And the hate is so cruel. They don't even want him to finish 40th. They want him to finish 3rd.
They want him to miss a Finau and come in 2nd.
Like, that's what they want. They don't even want him to have like a bad week in the totality of of terms of winning more money than 98% of the field, in terms of getting more points than 98% of the field. Like, they want him to do that and like lose in painful fashion for their narrative.
Were you
surprised? Although you know what? The sad thing with Rory is they're like, he can do no right other than winning. If he like plays horrible, he'd get railroaded. If he came in 40th, he'd get railroaded. If he came in 2nd, he'd get railroaded. Like, he can't do anything right, clearly. I don't mean that. I'm not like talking to our audience. It just seems like there's no winning other than winning. And even when he wins, like the players, it's still like, okay, what's next? So I'm hoping the best for him. It'll be great. I'd be sad if he like clipped a bet of mine. But other than that, no, I really want it.
Yeah, for me on this board, like I'm crossing off Ludwig in terms of bets, obviously, where my money is going to go. I'm going to cross off Ludwig, Tommy, and Cantlay. They're the top 3. And I'm going to cross off Hideki, who's just been playing really poorly. He's another one who could just win. He's 20-1. Like, I think he's a better player than Cantlay, but he just does not got it right now. And the last time that was said on the show, he won the tournament.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Berger's really the only thing that I'm like eager to punch up. And as I've seen some sites sort of look like start to move the number down, I might act soon on it.
Yeah, again, like I said, Coolbet's going to have a 40 on Berger boosted up from 33 as a PME special under their exclusives tab if you go there.
But this board, like, it's hard, Pat. Like, some of our friends, like, not to get ahead of you on the board, but like, you know, we're in like our Rico Hoys are in the 50s.
I know.
Like,
Well, let's get
like,
let's get to those guys. The 30 to let's call it 30 to 100 because there's a ton of guys in here. I really wanted to bet Bud Cauley this week. What's he 55 to 1, 50 to 1, something like that? Yeah, 50 to 1. Great. Thanks.
And maybe I do have to join you on Ben Griffin because it seems like you're betting him. So maybe I do I slandered. Maybe I should get on him to play his way into the Masters.
Well, there's I mean the one odd that's just killing me because there's 4 guys at 66 to 1 right now that I had identified as guys that I wanted to bet on. Ben Griffin, Lee Hodges, Rico Hoey, and Charlie Hoffman. Remember when this was the Charlie Hoffman Open? Why wouldn't we bet Charlie Hoffman this week? He's been playing well this year. This is his tournament.
This is his sweet spot. He's got that shirt. The stat of how much money he's won at just this tournament. He's like an NBA player.
Let me give you some Chuck Hoffman stats from the Valero. Actually, Chuck Hoffman stats on tournaments this year. He has not gained strokes. He's gained strokes in every tournament on approach so far this season. He's gained at least 1 off the tee, at least 1.3 off the tee in 5 of 8 starts. He just can't putt to save his life. That's really the Charlie Hoffman problem here. So here's his Valero track record. The last 3 years were not very good, but here's the thing. He hasn't been very good the past 3 years. 69th, 22nd miscut. Previous to that, 2nd, 64th, 1st, 11th, 11th, 3rd, 13th, 2nd, 13th since 2010. Dude crushes here, man.
He's got like he's an industry. And the Final Four, I think, is in San Antonio this week also.
It is.
Could be wrong.
It is in San Antonio, yes.
I did a college survivor this year, Pat, like an eliminator.
Was it fun?
I had so much fun, and I had Texas Tech on, what was that, Saturday. They were up 10 with 3 minutes to go, and oh my God. Whatever. I had a lot of fun. That sucked.
There's one name here, though, and I'm going to get sucked into playing it, and I know it's going to be a terrible play, but bear with me here. Have you seen Tom Kim's approach numbers this year?
He's literally, I could take a pic. That's literally where I'm up right now. And I wanted to ask you, because I don't think the tick forward in the last like month results wise is better than the previous month. But I wanted to ask you, could we maybe do this at 45 to 1?
I think
9 strokes at the Players, did decent at the Valspar, but the results don't show it. And when I said he was playing horrible, when I said he was playing atrocious, like Phoenix or Genesis, he was finishing 44th. Now he's finishing 42nd and 36, striping the shit out of it. So I don't know what to make. Is this a tournament you want to trust the ceiling? 45 to 1?
It's not even that you have to trust the ceiling. You have to trust that he can make a few putts. And what we've seen from Tom Kim over the course of his career is that he's a terrible putter, except the weeks where he's not, and he's like the best guy in the field. It's the old J.B. Holmes effect.
I don't know. He must be tinkering like a madman right now.
Yeah.
Like we might see him out there with a lab on Tuesday. I don't know. I saw the 45 to 1, and I'm like, I'm gonna take a peek at that. Like I'm gonna swim around that, see what it's about.
He and Sam Burns are exactly the same odds. Now I bet Sam Burns at Valspar, thinking, great course history here. He'll snap it back together. As poorly as Tom Kim is playing right now, I'd rather bet him than Sam Burns.
I mean, that Sam Burns number popped, but then you realize how bad he's been playing, and he's like desperate to find. He's not. I don't think Sam Burns is desperate to like compete. He's desperate to like find something. If that makes any sense.
I originally highlighted Siwoo to bet. He's 33 to 1, so I'm not going to bet him at this tournament. But I do really want him to get himself into the Masters. So I will not be pissed if he wins. Isn't it crazy he's not in any majors?
That's a trip.
And it's not like he's been bad over the past 12 months. He's actually been pretty good. He just has no high-end finishes. He just has a bunch of top 20s. He's like the Doug Gim of the good players.
I don't know if I'm smart enough to figure this out. Like, am I supposed to like Sam Stevens or Ben Griffin or Lee Hodges? Like I can make a case for all these fucking goobers, but I don't know. The numbers don't seem high enough.
Collie was really the one that stood out to me. Collie and Ryan Gerard. Like Ryan Gerard's approach play is just insane right now. But did he like everyone's going to be on him? Like you just mentioned all the names at 66 to 1. Like they're all the guys that you kind of want to bet right in this range that's on the screen right now. Like I'll probably pass on Ryan Fox, but Gerard, Griffin, Hodges, Hoey, and then Charlie Hoffman. They're all 66 to 1. Obviously, I'm not going to bet them all, but I feel like I'm in the same spot as you are right now. Like what do you do with these guys? And I like Hoagie at 80 too.
I don't mind that either. Gerard's going to be popular. I've seen it. What did Cool Bet have there?
66.
Yeah. He's going to be a popular play. Maybe too popular for my liking. But I see it, man. The guy can get it going.
The ball striking is absolutely amazing. And that's kind of what you want at this course, right? Like you need to find the Corey Connors profile and hope you make some putts. That's the whole tournament.
It's a good way of putting it.
That's why I keep circling back to Keegan.
Right? Like the JJ Spawn. You want straight flusher and hope they just hit the putts, right?
Yeah, like Spawn was.
Tom, so that's Tom. He's a straight flusher.
Yeah, just make some putts. Don't chip yourself out of the tournament. Hit as many greens in regulation as you can. That's why I like Keegan, because Keegan just hits greens in regulation all the time. And he's had some pretty good run in Texas over the past few years, just very sneakily. And even at this tournament, he doesn't have the results. But if you look at his ball striking, like Valero, 8th, 23rd, 25th past 3 years, gained 4.1, 3.1, and 6.7 on approach. And it feels like he's putting a little bit better now. And maybe that was just because it was in Florida. When they switched to Florida, his putter got a little bit hot, but just kind of ride the heater with him on the greens and just hope he does everything else well. But then that just leaves me back. Why not just take Akshay again?
You said Lee Hodges, or did I say?
No, I said we both said Lee Hodges.
Yeah, I don't know. The heater with Akshay is. I think those.
Here's the one.
There's some. I think there's some fair numbers in the 20s.
Here is the one thing with Lee Hodges. Remember, I told you about the Memorial Park, Torrey Pines, Craig Ranch, that kind of thing. The two good tournaments that Lee Hodges has played in this year: Torrey Pines and Memorial Park. Nothing. I guess he was 10th at Sony, so that's not bad. But his two very good, very similar courses where he did well, which I found somewhat surprising. So maybe we'll cross him off. I'm going to cross him off. I got to write Hoagie down.
And what about I don't know? Is there you just want to blindly back some stud putters? It's not really my style.
It's not though. But when was the last time you remember a stud putter winning this tournament? Like Akshay is now. He most certainly was not this time last year. Connors isn't. Spawn isn't.
Is Griffin?
Griffin? I don't know. Honestly, I feel like maybe he's good at putting. Yeah, he's pretty good, I guess. His approach play was excellent last week. He has these spike rounds again, but he's another one. Did really well in Mexico. Did really well in Houston. Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to swim around that.
It's difficult.
I bet Berger.
Yeah, I'm betting Berger for sure too. But that's anyone else from the up to 100 that you like? Mac Meisner?
No, you sort of in passing suggested someone else, but you're gonna just pray. Third at the Players, Tom Hoagie.
This feels somewhat disrespectful to Tom Hoagie, honestly. I know that he never wins, so you'd have to take this one with placements. So it'd probably be 75 to 1 with 8 places, something like that, or 75 to 1 with 5 places, whatever it turns out to be. But the dude just finished top 5 at the Players. I mean, Jake Knapp's been playing great golf as well. But to see Hoagie behind Charlie Hoffman and Ben Griffin and Ryan Gerard is kind of strange. Considering what Hoagie's skill set is I will fire at every pin, which you can do here.
Yeah, and he's not incapable of having good putting weeks.
No, he won at Pebble Beach too, so it's not crazy to think he could do well here.
Yeah, so that could Berger, Hoagie could be what I'm looking at. Obviously, I could do something embarrassing like Cantley.
So the only guys, we'll just talk about long shots for a second. This is last week. I played a ton of long shots because I didn't bet Scotty or Rory. That I was mainly there for the placings, and it actually worked out. So I bet the two guys without placings, Tony and Minwoo. Minwoo wins, and I had Fox and Toasty with their top eights at 35-1 and 27-1. If just they came inside the top eight, they kind of worked as like de facto top tens in that way. Plus, you had the equity if they won. I feel less strong about that this week, if that makes sense. And the course last week played a lot easier than it normally does because of the rain. I was very happy to not hear any, man, this course is just a birdie fest, because Memorial Park is one of the more difficult courses on tour. It just got soft.
Yeah, no, seemed like a firmer Memorial Park is a lovely test. Is a lovely test. I am with you. I'm not the last couple weeks. I want to say I've done some bomb hunting on my cards. I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm probably just going to flood the zone of like that 40 to 80. There's not much north of 100 I really want.
Okay. I'm going to bet that Fisk guy again. Carlton Fisk. Stephen Fisk.
I bet him 2 weeks in a row. Now I'm going to have to do it 3. Okay.
What is he?
Grillo does look like he's heating up a bit. Remember, we always talk about Grillo as like the wind won't, like, you'll just see some burn, but all he did was putt lights out, I think.
He did putt lights out when I read him off earlier. Yeah, he lost. Well, he also lost 10 strokes around the green last week and gained 7 on the greens. He was good off the tee. He was break even on approach. He's only gained strokes on approach in one tournament this year, which is sort of the anti-Griot when you think about his game.
You know who's who's going to be popular, I think. Cam, clear the nostrils, buddy. The cocaine problem this week.
You think so? It feels like he's really lost a lot of his luster.
I agree, but people are going to see he's got 2 nice finishes, 12 and 15.
I didn't realize he even did that.
Playing decent, and he's over 100. And like, if you're betting, I don't know, if you're betting Ben Griffin, why aren't you betting Eric Cole? I'm not. You
know what? That's actually a pretty good point, honestly. For me, for the long shots, I see Fisk at 200-1. I'm going to end up taking that. And I was looking at Victor. I bet Victor Perez last week. He just very middling.
Me too, both of them.
He's been 18th, 22nd, and 18th the past 3 weeks. He's starting to get it together, and he lost a bunch on approach in round 3 last week. So he's at 100-1. I really don't hate that.
Both the guys you said I bet last week, Fisk and Perez. So sure, I guess I can't just totally dismiss them.
Both pop up in the top 10 of the key stats that I'm looking at as well. So does Valimaki, but I don't know if I like this so much as a Valimaki course. I like Perez and Fisk a little bit more. The only other guys, like I'm just looking at, like Norlander always rates out well. He's like a model dude. McGreevy has been rating out pretty well. He had a really good Players Championship as well, but has not played well since. And then other than that, you have like, again, Mac Meisner, Norman Zhang, Rio Hisatune, Chandler Phillips. That's Cam's guy, Chandler Phillips. I might have to bet my guy John Pack. He's 750-1. Love that guy. His earrings are top notch.
There's a few really fun. Like I'm very into. I'm not talking about betting. I don't even know if they're playing this week. But like the scrub field events. Oh my god, I feel like I'm gonna lose a lot of money saying like the fall pat or in that loser. I don't want to call it the loser swing, but that swing out of the Open on like Celinda and Ricky Castillo.
Love Celinda. Celinda almost got there for me. I put out a live bet on him, top 20 and top 10. I was looking at the Fantasy National apps, like, man, this guy is striking the hell out of the ball. If he could just make some putts. Of course, he came 11th. So he cashed the top 20, but failed on his bid for the top 10. Because he was
honestly,
11th.
I had no idea he even finished that well this week. Good for him. And I guess I got to ask, do we know what the Taylor Moore situation is?
Marilyn Manson surgery, man. They're all getting it. They need that extra flexibility. Get those ribs removed. Really get down there.
Okay.
I have no idea. I think he strained his rib on the driving range before his round.
Yeah, that would make sense when you when you do it that quick. And I joked on Twitter, but it wasn't a joke. I mean it. I see those tweets. DFS is banned in Ontario, Pat. I still get an adrenaline rush, like as if I have a stack of Taylor Moore.
I had 20.
Like a lightning bolt goes through my body. Like I've got to do something. I can't even play.
I had 20% Taylor Moore in my lineups last week. And when the news came out, I was waiting and waiting to drop my kids off to see if there was like any last second WDs. I was like, well, I got to bring the kids to school. And then, of course, he WD'd while I was like walking my son into his pre-K class. Happens. Like you can't.
Sorry. It happens.
I've been through this enough. And people are such fucking
part of the game.
whiners.
You're still
about
gambling
it.
a bit.
It's a part of the game. It's not even gambling. You are gambling. And I get that reporting can be better, but what sort of reporting do you want on this? Guy tried hitting shots on the range, strained his rib, tried to do it, and he's like, fuck, man, I can't make my tee time. And then he's out. What do you want them to do? Strain his rib the day before?
He's in the Masters or no?
Taylor Moore is not in the Masters, no. Okay. So he's going to probably give it a go this week with the week of recovery. I'm not on him this week, but listen, and the thing that people are like, oh, they need to change the rules to help me because my guy got WD'd. You know who doesn't give a fuck about your WD and is cheering? The 90% of people who didn't have Taylor Moore. They're pumped. Like you have to remember, you know when I was pumped? When Jason Day withdrew from the players and 10% of people had them. It's like, oh man, there's no rake here this week. This is going to be awesome. I have 0% Jason Day. Like it works in your favor just as much as it doesn't.
I usually off a winner, I'm like, we get on the show and I've got like bets in. Like I'm like I've already half a card. Excited to fire.
I'd wait. I'd wait because these odds have to get better. They're weirdly unfair right now.
And I mean, I haven't looked in the last like few days, but I would say just on that note, Pat, we speak about it often. Unless you are betting unless you want to bet on someone to win the Masters who is like playing great this week, right? You could pick who that is for you. Like no one's odds are getting better. Getting worse. Outside of the small collection of players this week who have outstanding weeks, and even that might not be good enough for them. No one's getting better. So, right? Like no one. Like if you want to bet on, I mean, I guess you've used the name. Like if I don't even want to Cantley. Not, because I've said a 500-day win drought is not ending next week. And he's playing outstanding this week. Like maybe his odds would get shorter, but this is the crack. This is like the worst prices of the whole year, I believe, are from now until the resets.
Agreed. Yeah, it's a malaise. People are just waiting for the Masters. So let's get to the quick picks. I only have one bet in. I just used, if you go to coolbet.com, and obviously you can get in the giveaway for the $5,000 trip to Toronto for two. Please go do that. And if you do want the Masters pool and you live anywhere, to download, bring to your office, play with your friends, email it around, it's up there as well. You can find that link in the description. But the Daniel Berger PME Super Boost is now live on the site. 40-1 is what I'm in on. I bet him at 35, 33 anyway. So I like Daniel Berger a ton this week. I'm going to bet Keegan and Tom Kim. I'm going to wait for their numbers to get better when people don't bet on them. And then from down the list, I'm probably going to bet Collie and Hoagie and Fisk. Like those are the six I'm committed to right now. And since none of those are overwhelmingly short odds, I might pick up a Ben Griffin or a Rico Hoey or whoever it is from that very middle range. But those are the six that I'm identifying right now. Money is only in on Berger so far.
Money, like you, Pat, only in on Berger. It's good. We were on Min Woo together last week, so maybe that's a good thing. And when we get off, the only thing I'm really gonna like want to hunt for best stuff is Hoagie. I'm not ready to move on anything else. Tom Kim, hard sniff. Hard sniff. Who else was just a straight flusher who couldn't hit a putt that we spoke about?
Lots of guys.
Yeah, there was someone else. It was like 9.9 in approach last week.
What, wasn't that Tom Kim? That was at the Players. He gained 9.9.
Yeah, no, and then it might have been Hoagie. Oh yeah, so that's who I'm betting. Yeah, flushers. So Hoagie for sure. Half the price. Tom Kim will have to consider that. But
Yeah.
Berger Hoagie's in. I can give you my one and done.
Give me your one and done.
Hit a winner last week.
You're in first place now.
So that's good. I mean, if I haven't used
You have not used Connors yet, if that's what you're asking.
Keegan.
Okay. Keegan Bradley for you. Daniel Berger for me. And Cust is not picking Cantlay because he already has. He is using Justin Rose as his one and done.
Sure.
Hey, he was winning until this week, so we can laugh all we want.
No, I actually hadn't even thought about Rose. I want to just open him up here for a second. 75 to 1, 70 to 1. Yeah, fine.
He's playing.
This cutter, great. Like, that's fine. I know that's a one. Like, the ceiling, the floor seems low for a one and done pick, but we didn't talk about it outright. Like, he's either finishing top 5 or missing a cut.
So, again, go enter that contest. And the contest giveaway details are for the free trip to Toronto. You got to be in Canada, outside of Ontario. So go sign up for CoolBet on that page and you opt in to the PME giveaway. Then for every $10 that you bet on golf at Valero, Masters, and Heritage, you get one ballot in the draw. It'll be a random winner chosen by them. But that would be awesome. We're going to meet up. We're doing the show. We're doing a meet and greet afterwards. So you can come hang with us. Plus, you get to go to the Canadian Open and Blue Jays games. We'll get everything covered along the way. So please go do that at coolbet.com right now and hit the link in the description. There is one bet up there. I know you got to go that I wanted to tell you for. Jared brought it to my attention right before the show. It is a Rory and Scotty to win a major this year plus 427. I feel like that's a great bet. Just for the odds. Scotty's 4-1 to win the Masters.
Yeah, right. You're right. Relative to the odds, that's a fair bet. You'd argue if the odds are fair to begin with, but relative to what we look at, that makes sense. And even though I'm the one on the time crunch, Pat, I'm keeping us for a moment.
Okay.
It's LIV Doral.
Oh, yeah. LIV Doral. Sure. I wanted to bet Burmeister again. He won here last year, but his odds were like
I'll
6.
bet Patrick Reed.
What are Patrick Reed's odds?
I don't know. I just remember him being great at Doral 8 years ago. That was kind of a joke, but I might bet Patrick Reed.
So you're betting Pat. It's not a might.
I haven't like bet LIV all year, but they could be tempted to start. This is a huge 2 weeks for LIV. Like, the Fox thing better play this week. And as much as I knock them, I expect them to be great next week. I truly do. Will they win? Like, as like a group of cohort, I think they'll perform admirably. So I have really no concerns about that. But I think this is just a big week. And I'm sure Trump will be there. And, LIV's got zero mo. Like, their momentum, it's like negative. So maybe they can get some out of this. And if they do, I'll give them credit. Put on a good show. I can't wait to see Doral on TV.
Reed's only 28-1.
What?
Yeah, Reed's 28-1 in his
Has he done anything in the last 2 years? How is he 28? The course history, baby.
His results on LIV this year are 25th, 10th, 37th, and 44th. He's behind Phil in the standings. Phil only played 3 times.
I don't bet LIV is. I don't know. Which super elite would I want to bet? I don't know.
I'd want to bet. I would bet Bryson. Bryson's 14-1. He's like 5th or 6th on the board. Yeah,
I'm seeing that. That seems, more than fair.
Yeah, I agree. He's the same number as Sergio. Like, I might just go Bryson and Burmeister. Burmeister's number is falling already, so you might be able to get Bryson at 14, Burmeister at 20, and call it a day. Your boy
they
Thomas
pissed a lot of people off with their trailer for their reality show, eh, Pat? You see, like, a lot of the golf writers were very angry with that trailer.
Why? Why were people angry at the trailer? I didn't watch it.
Just a lot of the clips, like, they're playing some of these guys are playing the victim. That's one thing that
$100 million victims.
Yeah, you go, you work for the Saudis, and you want to cry, like, people aren't treating you fairly. Fuck off. So there's a lot of things, like, it's low hanging fruit to make fun of LIV. If I could give them any advice, it would be play on more weeks like this against Valero. Don't play against the players. Don't play against the Genesis, you Bay Hill, you dumb fucks. As dumb as they are rich. Said it before, I'd say it again. Yeah, don't do that. And don't the victim card will not work. Will not work. Like, you will not gain more fans at all doing that. But this week could be a banger week. I know Vincenzi's going down there. He's gonna get a lot of interviews. He's got some big, I think, one-on-ones. So keep an eye on that.
All right.
He's also on Minwoo. I know those boys are on fire.
Yeah, he was on Minwoo and he was on Eugenio, I believe.
Ooh. Do you see the whole Europe thing? I didn't realize Eugenio, he got kicked off of LIV, but I saw in his trophy, he's wearing a Golf Saudi hat.
Maybe he's still sponsored by Golf Saudi. I have no idea. But it's shocking to me that they signed this guy out of college who was like they projected to be a superstar. They're like, now you can't be on LIV anymore, pal. Now Laurie Cantor's in the Masters too.
Okay, so yes, guys who got bumped from LIV have gotten like good, so a couple decent stories. It's hard to argue with that Bryson 14. Taking a look at the marketplace, it's like clear best in show.
Yeah, and that's at Cool Bet if you want to bet it right now. So I will leave you with that. You smash a like. You give me the winner for Valero down in the description. We're going to be doing giveaways for the Masters. And Geoff, you and I will be back tomorrow with Cust and the team drafting players for majors and a whole lot more fun with that. And we got Tambo live on Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time if you want to tune into that or just watch it after the fact. Just review, subscribe, and turn on the auto downloads to the audio podcast on Apple and Spotify, and you'll be good to go. You'll never miss a show, all right? I'm Pat Mayo. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Mayo experience. Experience.